Nade usage is something a lot of people don't do correctly, and it's really impacting them in their gameplay, especially when they just die with full nades. And it's really frustrating, as even a teammate on your team, to see that someone isn't using their nades correctly, because it can really determine the outcome of a game. A lot of people don't realize this, but nades are one of the most important things in even like medium level play, low level play, and high level play included. Because without nades, everything is just aim, and you can only get so good with aim. So like if your aim isn't too good, you can compensate by doing really good nades. Some of the simple things include this flashbang. Like this flashbang, it's kind of known, which honestly doesn't really matter. And it's really wide in terms of how far it goes before it pops, but it's very useful for if you just want to pop flash it. If you just want to flashbang everyone on the bomb site moving in. So the way you do it is you just kind of line up like this. It doesn't have to be exact at all. You can aim wherever you want in this. I prefer going in the middle. And then you just kind of like duck down like this, so in action it will look like this. And you can really just swing out, and if you played pre-fire, you can use your pre-fire knowledge to kind of like flick to where people might be, and you can kind of kill them. They'll probably be flashbanged unless they're actually looking away. It's understandable if they look away because it's pretty wide. So some other flashbangs that you might use on site include this one. So you kind of go right here, next to the pillar. It doesn't have to be exact at all. You throw this flashbang out. This flashbang will pop anyone looking about us. It's kind of wide, so people can just be like, whoop. I don't have high enough sense to do it, but they can just be like, whoop, and they'll not see it. It's a good flashbang though if you're trying to get out here. Keep in mind, if anyone's just sitting here, hopping right here, then they can just duck down, they can re-peek, and you're probably dead. One other important thing to do is what the heck is this? One other important thing is that you should learn how to pop flash. Now, a lot of people don't know how to pop flash, and it might not impact their play a lot, but it can help out in a lot of situations. So to do a correct pop flash, right click, and then aim almost to the sky, like 70 degrees like this, and then do this. It should pop out a few inches, meters, I don't know, like metrics or anything, in front of you. And like if you're ramp, this flashbang will pop and then it'll hit the ground. It's not like that one where it's kind of easy to dodge. It's very hard to see. It's designed so that people are just flashbang completely. Now if you're a little far from a corner, you can also do this, which will make the flashbang go out a little farther. But the point of it is that it blinds all people looking at you. So for example, if you know there's a guy CT here, and there's a guy fucking stairs right here, and you got a smoke down, and bombs just sitting right here, and you don't really know what to do, you can kind of, I guess you could pop flash like this, and then you can flashbang the guy, and then if he's looking at you, depends where he is, he could be here or here, you can kind of, like with your op, I know you're opper, you can scope out here, you're not too exposed to that side, you can just scope out here, it's clear here, and he's there, and you kill him, good, you can hopefully, if the bomb's close enough, you can grab the bomb. Yeah, if you know there's an opper here, you can kind of shoulder peek him, which you do by doing this. You click D and A, right? So when you're shoulder peeking, your goal is to not expose yourself to the enemy. So that means sometimes when you're shoulder peeking, I mean most of the time when you're shoulder peeking, you don't want to expose yourself actually so that you can see the corner. Good way of shoulder peeking is to just do like this, where you almost see the corner. You might see the corner a little bit, but they can't really see that. So you can do this to bait out an op shot. It's right here, and they're dead. So they're dead. So on to the specifics. Now that I think on the specifics. So one of the common smokes that are really easy to line up is a stair smoke, right? So you just stand right here. You take your crosshair and you line it up to where these two kind of meet. It kind of forms a rectangle if you think about it right here. It's kind of rough, but you just throw it in the middle. And then this smoke should land right on stairs. It pops pretty perfectly. Combined with your teammate knowing a jungle smoke, which is a little bit more difficult, it can be pretty easy to do. Now jungle, it's right here. For the jungle smoke, you sit right here on this dot, and then you aim right here, and you do jump through. Jump throughs are pretty freaking hard, so don't worry if you're not really good at them. The jungle smoke that I was looking for would land like right here in this corner so that everything's smoked out. I don't really know the lineup for this, but I'll try to get it to you later. I actually don't need any of this smoke help stuff. I don't know what it's on. So the second nade that I really use a lot is going to be this nade. So I kind of line up in one of these bricks. It honestly doesn't really matter where you are as long as you're at this corner and you kind of crouch out. I kind of aimed right here. And then you take your crosshair and you place it near this beam. Just make it really close. And this smoke, it's one of the easiest nades to just smoke out a site. What this nade does is it pops in a site, so your ticket booth operator can't see anything. Now he can kind of just move out here and kind of ninja up on you, but it's better than throwing some of the more complicated smokes that you might see. So to reiterate, you do this, and then you throw smoke like this. You might be able to get a little more distance on it by just moving forward one step. You know, it might pop a little farther forwards. Yeah, this looks pretty good. But then it also creates other gaps that might come up, so I just try to do this. Whoop. So another mid smoke that you might want to do. So one mid smoke that you can do is right here. You line up your crosshair with kind of like this, and then you walk until you're almost to the fence, and you throw it. Yeah, I missed a little bit because I wasn't far enough to the left. So you line up in the middle of the last little window looking thingy, and you do this, right? And you move it, like, if you keep missing, try it first in this map, which is a Mirage smoke practice. You can just honestly start your own server by like this one. So you just do this to the right, and then you walk and run. You run until you hit the fence almost. It's kind of hard to hit, I will admit. I might hit this 1 out of every 4 times because I'm not really practiced with it. So I was a little low that time. Yeah, so this smoke, I can't really hit it, but just remember that you go do this, you do this, and then you walk until you almost hit the fence, and you throw this. It's like, I think it's overcomplicated, to be honest. So I can't really hit it. Some simpler smokes, though, like, as an opper, you really want to get at mid, right? Mid's one of the spots where you can really easily aim duel, but if you're constantly getting aim dueled, or you just want to get to mid safe, here's a really cool smoke that you can do. You sit in trash can in the corner, and you aim right here, this little top of the, I would guess, TV thingy, and it smokes out catwalk. This is important because this means neither connector nor sniper's nest can see you, and usually if you get out fast enough, there's no catwalk. However, if you linger too long, there might be a guy peeking out catwalk, and this can be an easy kill for him, so watch out. After that, you can easily throw a smoke for sniper's nest. Aim at the top of this other TV thingy, and then walk forwards. If you do it right, it should pop straight into sniper's nest. So I'll do it once again.
Laying down smoke.
Yeah, I walked a little too far there. Technically it's running, but I just kind of confused him a little bit. You only have to walk forwards 1 or 2 steps, and it completely smokes out sniper's nest. So these are kind of the basic smokes that most people know, because they're really easy lineups. Now, I don't really know a smoke for connector, because I'm honestly not very well trained in smokes either. But you can kind of do one on the fly right here. Just a right click here, like a pop flash, and it will smoke out most of the connector with almost no gap. There is a little bit of a gap on the right side though if you do this, depending on how you throw it, so watch out. So we're moving on to Molotovs on the A side of A. A few Molotovs include this one. If you're just sitting back in jungle, right, you see a guy who's sniping here, oh damn, shot, right? And they're starting to pour out sight, and you're probably gonna be smoked out right here, right? You can throw your Molotov so that it hits right in this corner. What this Molotov does is that it forces people to really wide peek this angle, so it makes it easier for your triple guy to get a shot. You tell him like, oh, I'm mauling ramp. Okay, so he doesn't have to expose as much of himself to get this frag. It's a really good molly, and if you get it right, it can actually stop pushes. A more effective way of doing it, if you have a little bit more time, is to do this one towards one step and hit it. Molly straight ramp, and they won't be able to do a thing about it. If you know people are firebox, easy molly, just bounce it on this wall, and they're gonna get cooked on misses. That's actually one of the reasons why they call this box firebox. It's because people are pushed out into this box. And then if you know someone's firebox, you can actually kind of do this bounce off, which will hit people also right here and firebox a little bit. So once you're pushed out to firebox, you can do one of two things. You can post here, or you can kind of just walk out and post here. Now you know where they are. One bad thing that I'll see a lot of people doing is they peek out right here. That's really bad because you're exposing yourself to both here, palace, site, big box, and also a little bit of ticket booth. So that's really bad. What you want to do is, if you still have a smoke, you can try to smoke this part of the big box set, so you only have 3 main angles to worry about. This one, and this one. So after you do that, and you know for sure someone's here, you can kind of walk out here, make some noise, because noise making is one of the important things about this. You want to be able to make some noise so that this guy thinks, oh no, someone's walking up, and he starts panicking, right? So if you hear that guy start to skull around on site, start walking again, and then you can kind of, if you know nobody else is here, that's really important about this. You can kind of walk around, juke around, see where he is. Always keep in mind that he's probably going to be around. Now, it's not good to scope in during these times, because if you do, it's going to really give away your position. That's what you don't want. It's easy to no scope when you're doing this, but it can be inaccurate. Disclaimer. Now, if you know there's also people on big box here, what I would do is, I actually wouldn't peek this at all. I'd smoke this out. When you usually smoke this out, people are either going to post up here, or they're going to kind of panic, and they're going to try to strafe out here. In case they do, you know, you sometimes have to take some risks. You have to know that you can't be Superman and peek every single angle perfectly. You know, there might be people here, but you gotta do this first. You gotta clear this angle, right? You're not really exposed to palace from here. You just gotta do the upper peek, which is you strafe out and then you hit crouch instantly. If you do it correctly, then you will see that it's really hard for people to hit you. As an opper, some people will aim a little bit higher on the chest, and then if you do that crouch, or your gun gets the rifler, it's an easy headshot. I know some people, though, will automatically crouch, so you want to, upon seeing an enemy, so you want to just aim a little bit lower. So if there's a guy here, boom, he's dead, and then you might raise suspicions from the guys on big box right now, so assuming that's still smoked off, you can zoom in right here, and if they don't re-peek, then you can start clearing palace like this. You can clear ramp. This is an angle, this is an angle, this is an angle, this is kind of an angle. You sometimes don't want to clear all these angles. You want to clear the common ones, like this one and this one, because you don't have infinite time. And then once you clear that out, it's possible. Okay, never mind. I was thinking that there was no smoke there. And then you want to clear out ticket booth right here. This is a really cool spot. If you're good enough with reactions and they peek out right here, boom. You can kind of start clearing big box right here. Use your upper peek like this. If you're fast enough, you can kind of kill this guy if he's right there. Now, if you're just taking sight and you kind of want to surprise your enemy, and you know for sure someone's CT, all these spots are smoked out, including connector and jungle, you can jump up on top of this box. It also works in clutches. They can't really hear you. Jump up on top of this box by doing this. So all you have to do, you walk into this pillar, and then you jump up, crouching. You get on top of this, and then you can either stay here, or you can jump up on top, and this will a lot of the time surprise people. It's a really hard angle to hit as a rifler and even an opper, because it's kind of a headshot angle. Not exactly, but close enough. Moving on to B, my favorite site. So B is, as I mentioned before in the pre-fire video, you can get wallbang from here, which is actually really uncommon. I've only seen one person do this to me before in like my thousands of hours of experience. And then this is a position that you can post up on with either a rifle or an op. This is really good because you can double zoom in here if they're pushing up. You know, you don't have to adjust much. you can just do this because they'll peek out a little higher due to this step right here, and they're dead. And then if they peek really wide at here, you now once you get this pick, you want to fall back from it because their enemies will be pre-firing you. A spot that I like to play after that is going to be bench, because they can't really see you from catwalk unless they're wall hacking, they somehow wallbang you, and you can get really easy picks while they're jumping out. At this point, there's probably a guy watching your apps from market, so that's one added touch. One thing you can also do here is you can sit here as an opper, right? So you can post up, you can single or double zoom. I prefer double zoom here because some people slow peek out here, and it's kind of hard to do that single scope. You can do this, and if they're peeking out really wide, flick them, they're dead. If they're slow peeking, they're still dead. This is kind of known as cold zero spot. Well, there's no graffiti on this version, but it's kind of known as cold zero. Some other positions that you can do while earlier in game that will surprise your opponents include this one, which Ninja, really good for frags, but a lot of people nowadays expect it and you'll get pre-fired. The other one that a lot of people don't know is this one. You can kind of walk out a little bit here. A lot of people don't expect you to be sitting in the spot. You know, if you hear people pushing up, don't strafe out in this case. If you hear people strafing out here, walking or running here, you can sometimes get a quick pick, because the thing is, you want to be surprising people here, or you want to be picking Ninja. Personally, I think just staying here is really risky because it's honestly really easy to pre-fire. Once one shot in the head and you're dead. So you can sit here while they're pushing up, you might get a frag right here. It's important to note that right here you can't really fall back. If you fall back, you're exposing yourself to more people. So you have to keep it. You can kind of walk right here, kind of spam off shots, and you might be able to kill people. Right here, I just noticed this. It's also possible to kind of watch catwalk. It's not the best angle, but you can also watch cat from here. It's very difficult for riflers and oppers both to hit you. You can also play here, which is a really good spot for killing people on B from pushing in from catwalk. You know, if you're opping mid, you lose control of mid, you can kind of either walk around here and post up here at this angle, or you can walk out here and try to see if people just peek out. It's really easy to kill people from here, but they might be moving a little fast, so you might want to practice this. And then if you hear people pushing up B, boop, most of the time. And then if you whiff your shots on them, you can just fall back here if they haven't jumped out yet. Common smokes for B apps, you can do this, it will smoke out apps completely. And a little flashbang on catwalk right here. You can do this, and it's going to kill that catwalk. You can also kind of reverse do this, but it will pop, and yeah, that works perfectly. I thought it was going to pop a little earlier than that. So that's about all the tips I have for Mirage in terms of grenade usage.